Hold on.
It doesn't allow us to do that. See how
10,
they are?
11, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Shit, I need my fingers. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
What?
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 12 years.
Okay, you got to explain that to me. Look, you go like this. 1, 2,
Right.
3, 4.
I always have.
What's that
How
all
do you
about?
do it? How do you do it?
I go 1, 2,
1,
3,
2.
4, 5.
I cannot do that. I cannot do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I cannot. 1, 2. I can't do it. Not without getting the pinky up.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It's funny, but Brooke and Brittany have both pointed that out to me too. Whenever we've been counting, I cannot. 1, 2, 3. I am like all the strength in my arm. I'm literally shaking right now. I can't do it. People are built different.
Oh,
Lord. How's everybody doing tonight?
Ray, happy anniversary, brother.
To you, Doug. So while we said the anniversary show, today was 2009, November 2009. I actually took a leap of faith because I had lost everything, and I went to either Lowe's or Home Depot. It was red. It was either a Troy built or a Home Light. And it was a 2.3 or 2.8, maybe a 2.8, beast of a machine. And I went out and washed my first property on November 1, 2009.
That's awesome.
Not a clue what I was doing. It was awful. It was horrible. That's why I never have a 4 in my quotes. Exactly.
And how many guys do we hear this all the time? How many guys do we hear that start off with a Home Depot machine?
Yeah, absolutely. It happens.
Guys.
It probably happens a lot in this industry. This is one of these industries that man, this is the most haphazard industry that people get into in the world. And I don't think anybody ever comes out of college and says, "Hey, I want to start a pressure cleaning business." I mean, it's. Thank you, Gene. Nobody ever goes, "Oh, this is what I want to do." I mean, this is an industry that a lot of people just kind of wind up in by happenstance.
It's. I think it's out of sheer. I have to do something, and I don't know what to do, and this looks like a way to go to make me a little bit of money right now, and that's it. I think a lot of people may not even look at it as a career move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. You're 100% right. So that's got to be David. I see that, and it is unregulated for now. Started with a 1.9. I wish I could find that machine. I would love to have that just as a little trophy thing on there. And as I would explain it to you,
sitting in the Cajun softwash window.
What's that?
I have my original gun at the Cajun softwash building.
I was as I said, kind of poignant today of ironically, today is my final day of my contract with Crystal Clean as well, by contract, but we've actually negotiated where I am going to do some corporate training for them as well. And so my tenure is not done yet, but officially, according to the contract, whenever I sold Spray Wash, today was my last day. So, but I'm happy.
And it wasn't even planned out that way, that it would be November 1st when you started and November 1st
Not
when
at
you
all.
finished.
Not at all. Complete
You're-
happenstance. You know? It was just crazy. I didn't even realize it because I'm not even thinking in the terms of spray wash anymore. That, you know, it was the ownership of my business, because let's face it, I sold it 6 months ago on May 1 is when we closed on it. So, you know, I love the comments coming in, you know, Ryan and then Thompson's water seal. Got talked into it. Jim Bob bought a guy's stuff, and what a ride. Absolutely. 2-year anniversary for Tropical Wash, Tropical Soft Wash, and 46. So happy birthday, and congratulations, Josh.
Happy birthday, Josh.
Offer to get into wood restoration in 06. And then Jacob is saying, happy anniversary, you old fart.
That's it.
That I am. That I am.
We're definitely getting there.
Getting there. Doug Rock. Boy, talk about old school in the business. But and you know, so getting back to what we were talking about is you know, nobody ever, not, and I would say nowadays with the advent of YouTube and, oh, look how much money you can make, and let's do this, and let's there probably are people actually getting into the business going, hey, I want to be a washer. I want to do this. So I would say nowadays there actually are people getting out here and doing this, saying, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to happen. We're not stumbling our way into this field.
That's because it's become a legitimate field.
Yeah, it's become a legitimate field. Unfortunately, what so many of the people are listening to out there on YouTube and on TikTok and on this and that and the other things is unfortunately complete bull crap in a lot of the ways. And I mean, I know some of the bad actors out there selling classes and doing things, and they've never, that's why we've always been really upfront with our numbers, you know, and actually gone over a live QuickBooks, you know, a couple of weeks ago, showing, hey, here's what a balance sheet should actually look like. There's a lot of guys out there that do not do that, you know, because they can't do that.
They can't do it.
They can't do it. I mean, there's a guy out there right now who's saying, I do $1 million a year in commercial work, and y'all come see our show that we're having. And he doesn't, you know. I've talked to suppliers. I've talked to people, and I know that the guy just got a second trailer. I mean, it's
no way you're doing $1 million a year with one truck.
You know, and somebody just said never watch the videos, learn to watch. 100%. And I don't think a lot of people are watching videos to learn to wash. I think people are watching videos to learn how to be in business. Unfortunately, the people that are making the videos about how to be in business don't really have businesses. Mm-hmm.
It moved I didn't push anything that time. It just moved.
So here's what, if you could tell your younger self anything you'd do different. Yes, I would get into I would move into professional equipment quicker, because I know over the first 3-4 years, I went through the home lights. I went through a John Deere, a DeWalt, a Simpson, you know, so many freaking little, you know, consumer grade machines. Mm-hmm. And part of it came from not understanding how to take care of those machines.
All of them said commercial equipment.
Yep. And I did a video, or I picked a post the other day in Spray Wash Academy of the first, and I think it was 2003 that I bought it, or 2013 that I bought it. First hot seat that I ever bought was literally running. I took it off the flatbed whenever I could go in there and crank it up right now. Whenever Crystal Clean bought my company, I was like, well, we ought to keep this here in Tallahassee as a backup machine. So it's still sitting on the rack, you know, back here, still usable. So that machine is coming on, you know, 8 years old or so, and still works, you know.
So if I were to go back and I were to talk to my younger self, starting out in business. There are several things I would tell myself. And one of those things would be to invest in systems. One of those things would be to invest quicker into commercial equipment. One of those things would be to start my business sooner. One of those things would be to focus a lot more on commercial accounts versus residential accounts. I need my residential to help feed my guys,
Payroll.
seven days a week, 6
I
days
can
a week.
make payroll with my residential. Make savings with my commercial.
I would focus more on the commercial realm, and I think I would have. So I can't say I would have bought the proportioner sooner, because as soon as it came out, I bought two.
You bought it,
So
yeah.
I can't say that, but if that would be something I would tell myself: the booster and the proportioner, the making sure I'm getting equipment, getting into it sooner, going heavily after commercial accounts. Those are things that, and I think I would also tell myself to get somebody in the office quicker.
Yeah.
To help me build out quicker. And I think last but not least would probably be to invest a little bit more in employees. And what I mean by that is simply that instead of hiring one, I would have hired two. And I would have started out trying to get them as lead techs, knowing that they're not going to make it. Okay. I know that up front. I already know that they're not going to make it. So I would have hired two, hoping to get one. And as soon as I felt like they were getting close, I would have hired a third to be their, assistant. So yeah. I wouldn't have made as much money right off, but I would have made a lot more in the end. And right. I think that those are some of the important
push them for growth a little bit faster.
Absolutely.
Push the employees, and me, I say that I probably wouldn't have done that just because I still wasn't even sure I was going to keep doing this for quite a while. I mean, I was going to, I'm still bumbling around trying to figure out, is this what I want to do? And then I had some real bad health challenges back around that 2012, 2013. I didn't know if I was going to be able to last in the field, with my ulcerative colitis. And, I didn't know what the heck to what I was going to do whenever I grew up. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would have done that differently. I know that we were, so customer service oriented.
Absolutely.
And we, I hired these, young redneck boys, young country boys, that knew how to drive a truck and then back a trailer up into somebody's yard, because they were all, the bad news that I always had here in Leon County is I had to give them off on Wednesday morning because duck hunting's legal here in Leon County on Wednesdays. So, it's like, well, it's gonna be late Wednesdays. All right, yes, sir. Yeah.
So let's flip that question around. What do you think? What do you think made you successful in this business?
That's awesome. Jim Bob, that's awesome. That is fantastic right there. So
300,000 with one truck is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's humping it. That's good. That's good. That's max.
But with Jim Bob, I'll go this way with Jim Bob. Jim Bob has taken on the wood aspect. And I'm betting that a lot of his good numbers too also come from some of that, the wood shake roofs that he does. I'm imagining you probably get a pretty good penny for those. I mean, I tell you what, when somebody calls me up and asks me about wood for a wood roof, I mean, I tell them, call Jim Bob, call Brenda, call Everett.
Yeah.
Don't call me. Yeah. I'm not the wood guy.
Well, the same within, the medical field, power washing, and prostitution. The good money is in specialty X.
That's it.
Yeah, and we literally had a call this morning from downtown Jefferson Street. So Jefferson Street, which is across the street from the Capitol, and it's where every lobbyist's office is. It's the downtown walking area. And we had a property manager, call us up and say, Oh my God, and the way he described it was, I had a diarrheal excrement on our sidewalk last night, probably from one of Tallahassee's homeless. He's like, and it's right in front of our door, and we need somebody to clean this up immediately. And we said, yes, sir, we'll have somebody out there. Well, what's your rate? It'll be $275 for, a call out on there. We'll assess it when we're there. Most likely it can be done for our $275 call out fee then. And, he called us back shortly after that. And he said, listen, I've got somebody else who's coming out here to do it for $100. And, my guys and I have laughed about it, all day long. And it's like, so there's some poor schmuck here in Tallahassee who's literally like washing up a pile of shit for $100 for $99, this morning. And he left $175 of dirty money on the table out there because bless his heart. But again, the specialty acts pay money. You're now known as the $99 shit cleaner.
And that's why I always say when you see everybody saying, run, Forrest, run, everybody's running away from a job. That's the job I'm going towards because that's a specialty thing. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to beat it, and I'm going to make money on it. And if everybody else is running from it, then one thing, the homeowner can't get somebody to do it, and he's going to pay more for it.
Exactly. Tommy said, lost it all. 28 years, lost everything, no support, built business out of his truck. I remember meeting you up there in dang it, at Paul's. Mothman. Absolutely. And it's funny, and if you're watching this show and you're one of the guys who are tuning in or seeing the broadcast, remember what we're saying, the specialty X. You should never be cleaning up human excrement for $100. Never.
I don't even care if it's dog poop. If it's just a little piece of poop sitting on the ground somewhere, $100.
I mean, seriously, think about this. You have got a business owner with a pile of human shit at his front door. Do you not think that man would pay $200, $300, $400 to get rid of the pile of shit out of his front door so customers can walk into his front door and not have to step over the pile of human excrement?
No, even if it were vomit, it doesn't even matter at that point. Especially it's an emergency call out, right?
Yeah.
That should have its own $100 fee just at the very start as a bare minimum, $100 just for an emergency call out. Then we talk about the cleaning.
Hey, Paul, what's happening?
And on top of that, realistically speaking, I don't think I would have a $100 emergency call out fee. I think you have to have a minimum of like a $250.
No, God,
you have to have
to me,
an
that's
emergency
deal.
This is what it costs to pull us off of this job, send them over to your job, or to get my guys to get out of bed to go and do your job, period.
On an emergency call out, think about that. If you're running a business, if you are running a business. Not a hobby, not a thing, you should be booked out. You should not necessarily under the unless it's under the strangest of situations, you should not have labor sitting around the shop. If you're doing an emergency call out for anything, that means you're literally pulling, like you just said, you're pulling somebody off of this profitable job. You're making them go away, and then you have to replace it with another job, or at least delaying a job or something. I mean, you should not be available to run out and do something on an emergency basis for $100. Besides, it's an emergency. There's a reason that when you go to the emergency room, they charge you more money.
Extra.
It's a reason whenever you do an emergency water extraction, it costs more money. Any emergency services are more money. Stephen, project a 2.5-year-old. Yeah. And you're right. Time is money. So yeah, David saying his minimum emergency is 350. You know.
By the way, the only way that we know who this Facebook user is because of the rhino in the end. That's how he lets us know who he is.
Yeah. Spray SH on urine. Yeah, that could be a bad one right there. You know, actually, speaking of SH on urine, I actually had a very good friend of mine, and he called, and he's a pro member, and he's somebody that I talk to on a very regular basis, and it's kind of funny. I was like, well, you know, that's in the library, right? You know, he's like, yeah, I don't need the library. I have your phone number. Okay, fair enough. You know, call me. Any pros are welcome to call me and message me. So we talk a lot, and he's like, I'm doing this outdoor doggy center. And I was like, okay, what's your plan on doing it? Well, I'm going to go spray bleach on it because there's some areas under the shade. And I said, you really shouldn't use bleach. Yeah. He's like, well, I don't know what else I'm going to do. He's like, I got to use bleach. I was like, you shouldn't use bleach. He goes, no, I need to use bleach. And I said, wear a respirator then. And I said, he's like, why? I said, the urine becomes ammonia. And whenever it mixes a bleach, it will knock you on your ass.
Especially when you're talking about that much ammonia, because it really is. If it's a place where dogs and cats and all that are peeing all over the place, I mean, that's something to think about.
So that's funny. So we've now got Facebook guys cross talking to YouTube guys through message of this. So Tommy's saying hey to David. He's on YouTube, and but you know, so and he called me and he's like, man, sure enough, he goes, I wore my respirator. He goes, and I don't know if I had the right respirator. I said, no, you didn't, you know, because we went over the type of respirator that he says I was getting fumes through my respirator. And he had a, he didn't have he needed a N99, you know, a 9899 or a 100, and he needed a AG/OV, and he did not have I think he just had the OV on there. He didn't have the acid gas.
Yeah, you have to watch. Just because you have a respirator, if you don't have the right cartridge, not the right filter in it, then it's not a respirator.
It's not a respirator.
It's not blocking off what it's supposed to.
But he said, he's like, yeah, he goes, I could still smell. He said it wasn't as bad, but yeah, it was bad. And he goes, and then whenever I went back to the truck and took it off, it was freaking horrible. Really he's like, I couldn't imagine it would have knocked me out had I been in there without the respirator. And yes, that is basically mustard gas.
Yeah.
So 200 non-emergency, going to 250. We charge $425 for emergency flush on a large diesel mulcher. 30 minutes, but you fixed a pain point. Customer is super happy. Absolutely.
Yeah, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, this isn't gouging. This isn't being horrible. You're providing, you said it right there. You fixed a pain point. You fixed a pain point, a pinch point. You fixed. They're charging money. They're charging money for their service, and they're stopped. And I had a guy, they had a radiator clogged up on a big timber machine that they were doing some land clearing on. And he's like, yeah, I need y'all out here. I said, you know, we're $275. Oh, no, that's just way too much. And I said, dude, how much money are you losing per hour not having that machine run? Whenever you're going to figure out how to get
somebody else in here,
somebody else out there, or you're going to do it yourself, and you're going to figure out, you know, you're going to go to the shop and pick up or rent a pressure washer, and then get there and realize that a direct drive isn't sucking from the tote of water that you've had to fill up. I mean, you know, think about that. Yeah, and you're probably billing out a solid $300-400 an hour for that earth or that tree moving machine, if not more.
You know, this is something else that's important too, where I'm going to assume that's David again. I'm going to go back to that one real quick. He's saying our minimum $200 non-emergency. If you don't have a minimum set period, I mean, just like the other guy saying he'll go out and he'll clean that crap for $100, it's obvious that he didn't have a minimum set to begin with. So you should set a minimum. Ours was $250. Well, we had two different minimums. Actually, it's $350 for anything that had to do with a house, and $450 if it was a roof. Okay, so set those minimums for yourself, and then if it's an emergency on top of that, I mean, that's where you have to pop a little bit more over and above what your standard minimum price is.
Exactly.
All right. I don't know which one you had clicked on next.
And you need to have you need to have your own set minimum fee and your internal fee. And for a long time we were 145 an hour. We're not 145 an hour anymore, and that's really for the new company to decide what they are in the new management. And
if you think,
good.
If you think for 1 minute the company is going to say, oh well, I mean, that's just that they don't understand, that they're going to look at that as a professional thing, because most professional companies have minimum fees that
Absolutely.
they do. Your doctor is going to have a minimum fee. And am I qualifying us like a doctor? Absolutely, I am. Your lawyers generally got a minimum fee. Your dentist has a minimum fee. Your lawn guy has a minimum fee. All the trade.
Do you know why people don't treat us as a professional service? Do you know why, Doug?
Don't act like one.
Exactly, because of us, because of our own policies, because of our own actions that we do. And look in the from the people that are out there, from members of our own industry. That's why they don't treat us as professionals, because we've got dodos out there behaving like dodos, charging like dodos, and not actually going, you know what? My business is a business. I'm not a handyman. I don't mean that. That sounds horrible. I don't mean handy. I'm not a hack. I'm not a guy who does lawns and has a pressure washer, or I'll do carpentry and do that. Because I know plenty of handyman services that actually charge really, really well. I have a business.
Yep.
And these are my minimums.
No matter what, you got to. I mean, you hit your minimums, and people understand that if you tell them, yeah, it's a $4.95 call out fee. I mean, I think that's what he's saying. Rick Nye says my minimum is $4.95. We are washing one job at $1,800. The clean all special. So having a minimum, you can say my minimum is $495. Most people are going to understand. They may not like the price, and they may not go with you because that $4.95 is too much for coming to clean up this poop. Okay, great. Yeah, no, not a problem. I'm still betting that most of them are going to respect that, and they're going to understand they're dealing with a real and professional business that understands and knows what its costs are and what it takes to get a job done.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right on there. And who do you want? It's like the discussion of raising your prices by 20%, or as I saw somebody in one of the forums was talking about the company. We're actually talking about Crystal Clean, and understand I'm not a representative of Crystal Clean. I'm just wearing their shirt because I've been outdoor hanging in neighborhood tonight. This is Ray and Doug at Spray Wash Academy. I'm not a representative of this company whatsoever, although the shirts are freaking delicious. Damn, now I forgot where I was going with that. But again, stop. Don't be hacks. Don't be, create your business like a business. And that's what Doug and I want for everybody in the world, Oh, here's what I was laughing about right here is, and really, if y'all think about it, everybody out here on this broadcast is taking business advice from two
guys that don't have a company.
Guys. They're taking advice from two unemployed people.
That's a fact. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, we're unemployed people because we could retire if we wanted to, because we've sold our businesses. So Jim saying $5,000 for them. Yeah. And I do. Jim does, the hardcore garage, heavy duty commercial stuff. Yeah.
Commercial
absolutely.
stuff. Yeah.
Business minimum, weed out the cheapskates, Scott's utility service company, the pressure cleaning division. Boom. Get what we have.
And that's the thing. I mean, and Scott, I guarantee you, Scott has minimums. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Scott owns a very large company, and in every division that he has, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, but in every division that Scott has, I don't even know how many divisions you have, Scott. But in every division he has, he's not going out for unless he sets a minimum fee for anything. It's just you're not even going to answer the phone without a minimum.
Well, as I always, we said we had $145 minimum. Do you know how rare it is for us actually to work for the minimum? It's rare.
You're always going up. So Scott says he's got 8 different divisions, and not one of those divisions doesn't have a minimum fee of some sort. Even if it's not a known number, he may not say, well, it's $4.95 or $3.95 or whatever. He's not going to fire up any truck and send it down the road without making money off of that machine. And if you think you're making money at $100, you're not.
Yeah. And Brian just said, do you think a minimum may reflect your professionalism? We have more likely done the right thing from the beginning, called DEP, quality before you open his doors. Turns out there's a discharge permit that's required in my area. No one else has it,
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, as we said, long-term listeners have heard us say this before. I've got, Golden Corral. I've got Shula's or let's say Ruth's Chris. Probably more people are around the Ruth's Chris, Okay. $15, all you can eat, $200 a plate after you have drinks and appetizers, right? They're both meat, and they both have places in the market, And over here on the Golden Corral, kind of disgusted with myself every time I leave there. Ruth's Chris, I can't wait to go back. There's a place for everybody in the market. I know what I was going to say. When I was talking about the Crystal Clean, there was a guy in one of the forums the other day going, oh, God, Crystal Clean's so stupid. We bid $5,000 on this job, and they bid $20,000. What a bunch of morons.
That's stupid, right?
And I'm thinking, okay, really? Because if they get that job, they've got to work 1/4 as much as you do to make the same amount of money.
Yep.
I'm just going to soft pitch that.
Throw it out there.
Think about it.
To Brian's point here, do you think your minimum may reflect your professionalism? I'm going to say that I can say that I have talked to people and given them, well, our minimum is, and I have had replies back like, well, I didn't think it would be that much, but I knew that you'd be a professional company. So, okay. So do I think that reflects our professionalism? Absolutely. Because it shows that we already know what our value is and that we do have a minimum that we're going to work for, meaning we have a minimum value. We're a professional company and we are doing it for a set rate to begin with. And then it goes up from there. And yeah, so I never really thought about it from the question quite that way. I mean, I did tonight, but I never really thought about the phone calls that I would get where I would answer that question on the phone and the reflection that I got from that of, yeah, I knew that I was dealing with a professional company. So yeah, absolutely.
But, in some ways, in a lot of ways, for lack of a better qualifier, in a lot of ways, price does dictate.
Absolutely.
I mean, let's think about it. I mean, where do we go with the whole, so, what's better? What's better from McDonald's? Stuff shit off the $99 menu or stuff you're paying, buying the quarter pounder, because the quarter pounders are the 99-cent menu, So in some ways, and I'm not saying you're not quality if you're not expensive, because that's not what I'm saying at all. Because I know a lot of great guys that work cheap, way too cheap. We call them contractors for us. But it's still, I mean, with lack of a better way to qualify it, so many times price can be a determining factor of quality. In fact, a lot of times with quality, we expect to pay more. I mean, if we go to a diamond store and they grade diamonds. So a low quality diamond is cheaper than a high quality diamond. Honestly, to my naked eye, to my untrained eye, I can't tell the difference.
Can't tell the difference, yeah.
But I know that I've bought diamonds for Tanya that were a higher quality because they told me it was a higher quality.
And that's it. Just by saying it, even though I can look at it and say, this looks the same as this. But
honestly, the cubic zirconia look as good to me as the regular shit,
Only to come to find out that the salesman was just better quality and he sold me glass.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So emergency fee is $300 per hour, 2 guys, minimum based on the situation. Hazmat recommend. Amen. So did they choose the name Crystal Clean? They didn't want my name. We had they chose they Crystal Clean was an established company and has been for about 20 years. They're actually older than I am over in Jacksonville, and they were much larger than I am too. So they're a couple hours east of me, and they're doing a forward, they're doing a westward expansion and a southern expansion down the state.
They already have brand recognition
in
Florida to begin with.
Yeah,
and
they have a lot better brand recognition, frankly, there than I have here in Tallahassee. I mean, they were pretty freaking special, and I was pretty special here. But they were, I even said, like, we were looking at numbers and going, okay, well, they did. Okay, yeah, but let's look at the per capita numbers, and I was like, well, I'm at $1 million on 300,000 people, and it's like, well, okay, they're at 10 million on 1 million people, so they're still beating my butt. No
matter how you crunch the numbers, unless you cheat, you're not going to win. Yeah.
Oh my God!
That's the funny thing. Going back to what you were saying about somebody saying that Crystal Clean was stupid. I mean, I look at that in the same way sometimes. You look at some of these big companies and you think, how stupid is that they're not doing this or that they're not doing that? But obviously they got something figured out that they're so big and better. And the only thing that I would have a problem with is if they're lying, cheating, or stealing, because I hate that kind of stuff. But other than that, it sounds like they got it figured out. So who's stupid?
Mark Rhodes, I love what he says. You know what? And the sad part is we tried, Mark. This industry will not come together and set standards. Besides, that if you should know more, you should know more than just spraying water. 100%. Make sure my customers know I do continuing education. Our chemicals work together. We go the extra mile. This is not a side hustle. My business matters, and what I offer matters. 100%, I agree.
Mark, we were on that path. I can tell you right now that, what has it been, 3 years now, Ray? 3 or 4?
Oh, God, it just said 4, I think.
Okay. I can tell you right now that as of about 4 years ago, we were on I think a very, very clear path to uniting the industry. And I can say, in my opinion, honestly, one person really derailed the entire industry, and he's done it before, and he'll do it again. And, it is one of those things where we had clear vision on, this is what we can do to better and grow the industry and make it something that is an absolute profession with some standards. We never really wanted government intervention. Don't want that.
Yeah.
But some industry standards that we could promote and put out there. And I honestly, I don't see it happening at this point for an extremely.
And it's so diluted at this point. I mean, you've got, you and I did this thing, and then you had, other people doing their other things, and essentially people competing against, each other. And it is what it is. And, it is what it is on this industry. And it's kind of sad, and then, the sad part is, had it worked out, this whole YouTube thing, I think it would have been that set the standard for education, and you wouldn't, oh, wait, you're not a part of this group, and I totally support the PWNA with Bo Giuseppe, who's entering into his third term, I think, as president. And I think they've got a great message, and I'm more than I'm honored to be part of their education team over there. And they're the only true not-for-profit in this industry at this point. And
there is a new one popping up.
Bigger,
American Soft Wash Alliance is going to be popping up pretty soon, and it'll be a little bit different with them. And I mean, I've seen some of what they're planning to do.
And you're going to have to go and vet. You're going to have to be vetted and stuff to do that. I mean, and I don't know if that's really an association as much as a business network. And
a business network.
Be on board with them, and I hope we'll actually have one of the founders of that, joining us soon. So,
Yep, absolutely.
Tommy saying he'll go wash dishes after he eats at Ruth's Chris. Yeah, no kidding. Mark Rhodes, just gas and blade $250 for the week. We've got some great. Oh, wait, hold on. I want to go back here to Servant. Soft wash. Surface cleaner tips need replaced. When they start really leaving awful, horrible, bad lines, is a good way to figure it out. And
I got better than that.
They just need to be replaced. I mean, you ought to be replacing them about every 2 weeks or so. What do you think, Doug?
I think how much are the tips? They're like $2.50 a piece, $4 a piece. Right now, I don't know where they're at now because I haven't had to buy tips in a while. I buy the tips in bulk, and I'm going to tell you right now, just go. I mean, I like what Ray's saying, every 2 weeks. Every week, if you cannot afford to replace your tips every week and just take them and chuck them in the garbage, then, I don't know what to tell you. So how do I know when the surface cleaner tips need to be replaced? Monday. If it's Monday, they need to be replaced.
Good, yeah. Is it? Is it the first Monday of the month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, time to replace it. And that's that's a perfect one right there. I would say if you're the guy who's pushing a surface cleaner, you just know. You just know. Is it cleaning like it should?
And that's the thing. You really get to a point where you understand how the pace at which you're walking and the cleanliness behind you. And as you turn around and you come back and you see your wash water going over that, you get to an understanding. You become one with the machine.
Exactly. Right here, Wallace Wimmer. Favorite part of Ridgecrest, a little breadcrumb scraper between courses. Sell the experience. 100%. Mm-hmm. I just had this happen to me, and it was hilarious. Tanya's like, "Why do you have Blistex in your pocket?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "There's a tube. There's a tube of Blistex in your jeans pocket." And I was like, "Oh," I said, and it's like, "You getting herpes? What's up with this?" I am. Whenever I'm walking around with a property manager around a piece of property, I am literally, if I see something on the ground, I pick it up and I put it in my back pocket. I mean, if it's a napkin, if it's I don't do it with COVID masks as much because breathing into it. But if it's a piece of junk, a candy wrap or something, and there was one we were in a nursing home the other day, and I picked up a tube of Blistex, stuck it in my back pocket. And I had somebody's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm sorry, I can't stand sitting here. I can't stand seeing trash on your grounds, And it's one of the things that my guys are going to do whenever we're cleaning out here. The guys are going to be parceling up and picking up trash because this really bugs the living crap out of me." And he was like, "Oh, I like that. It's kind of part of selling the experience there, guys." Hey, 275 keeps you out of the trailer parks. 100%. Yes. Oh, you're so right. Go ahead and probably list the permits needed, up to 7 of them. Competitors, no permits. They're less by half. Customers, the people, they always go with us. 100%. Hey, Emmanuel, happy anniversary.
Sell the sizzle.
Flip is with us.
Mr. Flip.
He's saying hey to Mark Rhodes. I don't know if Mark... Yeah, we are very very, very, very honored, that we were chosen to be purchased. Amazing, we're very, very proud of it. I know it sucks. That's why hope you guys can make some headway. What was that in response to?
That was in response to changing the industry. Industry standards and all that.
Oh God, is that how?
That's how far down we are. Yes. If you saw many gallons of milk at the store and they were $4, and the next to them was another gallon at $1, what's your first thought? That's good.
What's wrong with that?
I like that a lot. What was?
Am I getting a deal or what's wrong? Yeah.
What's wrong? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. I hadn't thought about that as the analogy, but you're right.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, too. You're right. It does depend on the volume that this is going back to the surface cleaner question.
Yes.
If you're using your surface cleaner once a week, yeah. You probably don't have to, we're using ours multiple times every day. Mm-hmm. But again, the best way, whenever you consistently start leaving streaks and leaving lines and it's not cleaning easily, then it's the time to do it. I mean, I wouldn't say I don't think there's an hour rating on it because every job is a little different.
And if you've got debris in your tank or your buffer tank or whatever that puts it in there,
wearing them out from the inside.
This goes back to a really good point that Ray and I have made many, many times, and that is listen to who you get your advice from. And the reason that I say that with the surface cleaning tips is simply that you have to think about who it is you're getting your advice from. Okay, you're getting your advice from Ray, who runs how many hours a day with a surface cleaner, and then you're getting your advice from Doug, who runs how many hours in a surface cleaner. So we're saying, 1 to 2 weeks, every Monday or every 2 weeks or whatever. But if you don't run as much as we do, then maybe that's too much for you, right? If you run more than we do, then maybe every job. I mean, I know that with the big machine I had, I won't throw names out there anymore, but with the big machine that I had, I think we probably would have changed tips on that thing probably every job or every 2 jobs at a minimum. We would have been changing tips. Okay, so equipment matters. The number of square feet you do matter. All these things you got to take into account when you're listening to whoever it is you're listening to.
So Mark said, have you guys ever heard of this company, Everseal? I just pulled their website up. I have not. I know that my market would not be good for them because we're just not a fancy. Your market, you've got fancy decks. I don't have fancy decks in my area. I'm a damned old pressure treated wood kind of area around here. We might have we have some ironwood or some iPay down at the beach. We don't have mahoganies. We don't have like kind of crazy exotic woods, teaks and things like that. We just don't,
Mm-hmm.
But so it looks kind of interesting from what I see there. What's guys' take on the gas roof pump versus the booster on a 1 horsepower? Looking at doing more commercial work, debating the 2 horsepower for use. I know
I wouldn't go with a 2 horsepower booster.
The 2 horsepower booster, don't stay away from them. They're no. The most I would put on my truck is a 1 horsepower booster.
And I can tell you, we've run both 1 horsepower and half horsepower or 3/4 horse.
Yep.
So we've run half, 3/4, and 1 horsepower boosters. And I would say 3/4 for me is the best all around pump. Okay.
Right.
All around, meaning for doing virtually everything. The 1 horsepower or above, super awesome for certain things, especially if you get into rinsing or if you just really need to hit a little bit higher.
Yep.
Then I would go that route. Gas pumps, other than the pressure washers and all that, some of the other gas pumps like the Comets and stuff, I don't run those, so I really don't want to give much of an opinion on them. But I've seen them and I've heard, just like everybody.
I've had the Udors. I'll give you an unvarnished opinion on the Udors. I think they suck.
Yeah.
And they're not very far off from the Comets. I know that Comet has a real big problem of running through proportioners or any of the subsequent thousands of knockoffs that are out there. Would that sound better? Yeah. But yeah, so maybe the high flows are okay, but then whenever you put the bypass loop on here's what I want to point out about these gas booster pumps. Okay, so let's say you have you got your pump and you have your bypass loop on there. So here's the pump and you have the bypass loop. Okay, there's my pump, my bypass loop on there. So whenever I let off the pump, and let's say I've been washing a roof, whatever, washing anything through a proportioner, and you've got the bypass loop for these gas pumps that feed back into loop back out there and feed back into the manifold. Well, so the loop here is filled. Sorry, I can't do this backwards. It's filled with bleach solution, right? So now the minute that I go to water, I'm good. But if I've got this gun squeezed and I'm just blowing water, the minute I let off that gun, I'm now shooting a little bit of water into that bypass loop. Mm-hmm. Now, what's happened to the bypass loop? It's getting diluted. And the minute that I push on that trigger again, that bleach that was in there is getting introduced into the stream. It may not be a little. It may not be a lot. It could be.
But it's still bleach.
It could be a lot depending on how long you let it bypass for. And you could be now, the minute you squeeze that thing, at some point in that 200, 300 foot of hose that you have out spraying on there, you've got a blob of bleach. Mm-hmm. Is it going to be hitting a stained garage door while you're rinsing? Is it going to be hitting grandma's precious rose bush whenever you're rinsing? I don't know. That's one of my problems with the bypass loops on there. I also know that Comet themselves has complained about the back pressures on it and running it through there. And I know they leak like hell. And one of the biggest problems One of the biggest problems with the gas pumps is the priming issue, and why we stopped using them. And again, this is not new technology. I snatched all the gassers off of my rigs, 4 years ago, Doug, or so?
A while ago, yeah. It's been a long time.
Is that
that's why I never went to gassers.
My employees would not allow them to prime enough. And whenever the gas fails, that freaking diaphragm busts and you start getting, splits in the Eudor's a triangle, Comet's a hexagon. You start getting splits everywhere, and it's spraying freaking bleach all over the place whenever it fails. And so much of that gas pump is subject to user error. Anyway, now going back, I want to also go back to the boosters. One of the reasons you have a problem with the boosters, the bigger the booster you go, the more amp draw you have.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know that, remember Tony and Marshall?
And especially as the more you use that booster and the things inside
More
get
drawn,
a little bit, now you need more amps to get it just to kick over.
And so all of a sudden you're running around with a freaking, you've either got to wire it for 240 or, which is, a lot of hell. That's what they do in Australia. All the boosters in Australia are 240. Or you've got to have like a 10.5 kilowatt generator on your truck. Michael, I think way to set regional minimums. I don't think so. I think they're going to call that antitrust. If you had
they're going to call that price fixing.
Yeah, price gouging, price fixing.
Mm-hmm.
If you had hell,
you're not even supposed to be discussing that kind of stuff. I mean, it's price fixing.
The Realtor Association is one of the oldest and biggest, trade associations in the world. And you can't sit there even with a group of realtors and talk about a standard commission, because commissions aren't standard, or you will get that. So
I don't know what Brian is saying there.
Leery of all the new pages, so much silliness and anger, good grief, who wants to do all the new pages?
Yeah, that one I know exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
Oh, that must be, okay, that's what he's saying about the other one. Okay, now I got it, Brian. Yeah. I don't understand a lot of that. And especially, so, I mean, let's talk about that page for a brief moment. I mean, I won't bring up the page name, but, Ray and I both were removed from that page because a lot of it was exactly that. It was silliness, and it was anger, and it was crap information being run by.
You're going to have, I'm sorry, hold on. You're going to really have to be a little more specific, because I have been removed from so many pages. I don't know.
That's that kid that was a.
In fact, the guy that's comments up has a similar name to one of the pages that I was removed from not long ago.
Yeah, that's the page I'm talking about.
Annual gross when you sold. They're really not going to look at your annual gross as much as they are your annual net, because gross doesn't mean squat.
Yeah.
They're going to look at your numbers and do a forensic audit on your numbers. They don't really care about what your gross is, because if you're grossing $1 million and keeping up and bringing home 100,000 out of $1 million, you suck.
If you're grossing $400 million a year, yet your take home is 100 grand.
Yeah.
That don't mean anything.
They don't really care about what your gross is. They want to see what your, now obviously, yeah, they care somewhat what your gross is. But, I would say on your gross, you'd be good to be at 1 times your multiplier on your gross. If you sell it for your gross, at least where we were, and I'm good with that.
So now I finally got that comment. I now understand it. Okay.
Be the smart guy at least once a week. Oh, look at here. We got a new guy, Connor. And Connor joined us last
week. How are you, sir?
Second and third jobs scheduled for tomorrow. Awesome. Congratulations. You know what? You got a lot of guys rooting for you right here.
Yep. You'll have a ton of people rooting for you. And you'll have a ton of people rooting for you to fail, but not here.
Yep, exactly.
Leslie Smith also said
house wash. Hold on. Go back. I gotta go back here. I may not get a very strong clean if I downstream it, but I don't have a soft wash system yet. No, don't stop. Yeah. Easy Armor house wash. Go away from that. Get bleach.
Read the label on it.
Yep. It's you know what the label's going to say on there? Hold on. I've still got this. I've got a pile of chemicals down here. I've been meaning to like do.
Definitely on all
I've
those
literally got
products.
this
Read
class
your
like
labels.
I've written on the board over here, and okay, you've got outdoor cleaner. What is it? Sodium hypochlorite.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
What do you say for miracle? We've got Clorox. What's our active ingredient? Sodium hypochlorite.
It's a miracle.
I've got outdoor bleach. What's the active ingredient?
It's a miracle.
Oh, sodium hypochlorite.
It's a miracle.
People think I'm kidding. I've literally got like 10 jugs of chemicals down here where we're going to get into like a whole chemical discussion one day on here. But yes, absolutely. Everybody's rating. Like I said, good job. Do that. But, you know, watch us. I understand. Go into Spray Wash Academy on Facebook. Read until your eyes bleed on there and understand. I mean, you probably want to be downstreaming at least this, but don't waste your money on the junk like this, because this right here is what, $14 for a quart or a half gallon, 64
It's
ounces,
a miracle.
half a gallon. This is $8 for a gallon, and it's literally, this is just a strong version of that.
Ray, why is that stuff a miracle?
Because they can figure out how to sell bleach for $28 a gallon. That's how it's a miracle.
Exactly. That's the miracle.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to go back real quick, touch on this one. So somebody was asking, we keep hitting the same button. Somebody was asking about the tips, right? Also, when your pressure drops, Leslie is absolutely correct there. When your pressure drops, that also helps you to know that, hey, your tips are bad. Or when your pressure increases, that's also a way to know that your tips are bad. I don't know which button you would hit there, Ray.
I don't know. Sorry, I was getting a phone call in here from China.
All right. Hey, everyone, much love and respect. Got my second. Okay, we did that one. And Connor, that's awesome, man. Mark Rhodes, they are claiming no pressure washing and 25-year warranty. Yeah. Great. 25-year warranty. I'd love to see that. That's never going to happen in our lifetime. Doesn't sound right, does it? Nope, absolutely not. Connor says, does anyone ever downstream? Okay, that's back to that one. Jacob saying, excellent job. I'm way behind on the comments here, looks like.
Oh, we're getting awesome engagement tonight. Yeah. Comments. We can't even.
After I get done with all my projects in November, I'd love to see you guys and just enjoy spending time with you. Hey, Mark, then are you coming to Orlando in January? That's where we're going to be, buddy. Chicagoland says boosters are the proven player in the game because they are designed to push chemicals and water. Gas-powered pumps are meant for one thing, and that is agricultural purposes. The housings are plastic. And, you know, I'm going to give a pitch for the Power Wash store. I know that Paul went to Gould's Pumps and has some special things done with the Gould's Pumps to try to help them last a little bit longer. You know, so there's that. You know, that's one of the things I'll definitely say. I think all the players in this business, whether it's Paul Cassander, you know, Mike Hindleiter, Russ Johnson, look, they all do their things to try to help the industry along and make it better. I can say that's one of the things that I really like about Paul, aside from being a friend. He does things to try to help better the industry quite a bit, and he does things behind the scenes that people don't see or know. I think like what he's doing with the franchising of the Power Wash store is a very powerful and beautiful thing.
I don't know what idiot would buy one of those.
You know what? I know a couple of fools that would think about something like that, but you know, hey, there's that. Anyhow, so I have much respect in that realm. Did I click on the wrong one? You clicked on one?
Yeah, I already clicked. Air diaphragm. I'm laughing at this. So Crystal Clean, damn it, Crystal Clean, company that bought Spray Wash, they are all about the air diaphragms. I loathe air diaphragms. I have had nothing but problems with my air diaphragms. I'm on about my fourth one for the year, and I've had Graco's. I've had the one the Power Wash store sells. I mean, like two different kinds, the Graco and the one Power Wash store. I can't stand them. Some of the screw ups have been our fault. Some of the screw ups have been the pump's fault. I don't like them. Now, one of my lead techs loves it. Two of my other lead techs don't like them. Mm-hmm. And I think it winds up being it literally is a preference issue. And the nice thing is you set it down, okay, and it'll stop. It's Mark's sitting here saying he loves his air pumps.
Yeah, but Mark's got screws loose.
Yeah, Mark's not right.
Did I say that out loud? I am so sorry. Outside voice.
Collecting sales tax. You know what? You need to go to your state Department of Revenue or Department of Taxation or whatever your state calls it, and check to see if pressure washing is taxable.
Yeah, a lot of areas it is not, and a lot of areas it is. So
Florida state, it is not taxable. Window cleaning,
your parish or your county, call your state. Call your city, right? Call all the local jurisdictions and find out, is it something that is a taxable event?
Yep. And, like Florida, hood cleaning, taxable. Hood cleaning, taxable. Window cleaning, taxable. Exterior pressure washing, not taxable. So I'm gonna count again for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't do it, Doug. I can't do it.
That's just, I knew you were special, but that's just retarded.
There you go. So pressure and plastic don't mix. Met with our Chamber of Commerce, 395, third largest in the state. Awesome. Love it. So I figured the national trademark on this name too, by the way. Awesome.
Awesome. I think that's a very smart thing to do with your company name. I mean, I did it with Cajun Soft Wash.
100%. Get a national.
I think it is a smart move to do because I don't want to build a brand and have somebody else take it from me. I don't want that. And I have already, you know what? I'm going to go this route with you. I have actually made friends off of my trademark. And what I mean by that is I have had guys that have tried to steal my trademark. Now, some of them unintentional. We had a guy that I'm going to tell you, I really like him and his wife, and I'll say that he's a crabby person. How's that? But anyhow, when he first came out with his logo, it was pretty close to mine.
Yep.
And so I reached out to him and I'm like, hey, bud, I can't have that. And I'm just letting you know right now, I'd like to do this in a friendly manner. And he was an honorable, respectable guy. He looked at everything and I didn't have to go any legal routes with him. And he's like, yeah, that really does resemble it. He had paid somebody who had stolen my logo and they made something similar to it. Okay. He's now, I would consider him I'm going to say a pseudo friend here in the Facebook world, and somebody I would talk to. I enjoy. I think he's a good person. So just doing, I'm getting off track with that, but I've made friends even off the fact that I, am protecting my territory, and you should.
Well, this happened. Actually, I still remember we were actually in New Orleans whenever this. No, San Francisco. Maybe it was San Francisco. I know we were traveling at some point, and somebody sent me a picture of a guy, and he was Tallahassee Spray Wash, and he named his company not Spray Wash. I have Spray Wash, Tallahassee Spray Wash, and I never went and trademarked my name. And I called my attorney, and he said, well, Spray Wash is kind of the vernacular. I was like, no, Spray Wash is the vernacular because you're dealing with me because I pay you $15,000 a year to be my freaking attorney is why you think it's a vernacular. It's really not. This is, a few years ago. And he goes, oh, okay, well, it's not. He goes, we can absolutely. He goes, here's what's going to happen. He goes, I can get this shut down. He said, you understand this is going to cost you about another $20,000 or so, because we'll take him to court and show that it's not been, that it's not he's infringing upon, you have an implied trademark, and a reasonable person could not understand that there was a difference between the companies. Mm-hmm. And by the way the marketing is done and by the way the name is. And I said, okay. I said, well, let's just kind of see what happens, because I really don't want to invest that much. The guy had at some point, now we sent a cease and desist, and he actually called he went up to my guys. Apparently he was, again, two of my employees' opinion, he was shit-faced drunk. And he comes up and goes up to them while they're in this little area doing a gas station, and is like, you tell that mother you work for that he kissed my butt, and I ain't gonna change my name. And that was at like 1 o'clock at night at a gas station. So then all of a sudden he went away, and you're sitting here, you're searching public records. You realize the girlfriend left and the corporation got dissolved and the fees hadn't been paid. But apparently recently he's back on the scene. I don't really care, but I just actually found out like today that I was talking to another buddy in the industry. He's like, yeah, I lost a job to Tallahassee Spray Wash. Like, ooh, that's interesting. That's going to suck for him when he realizes a company worth $875 million now like owns.
And they're ready to go down.
They might not be nearly as
generous
as I am, or nice as I am.
So Chicagoland, right. To answer your question, I launched the Cajun Soft Wash side of my company in February of 2013. So that's 9 years now. But yeah, and I've been in business, if you would, since 1991.
You were such a youngin'.
What's that?
Said you're such a youngin'. 2013.
2013, yeah, I know.
Not even in the same decade.
Yeah.
So Jim Bob said, what's a good pressure for a rubber roof? I know that most TPOs are about 1,500 PSI to 2,000 PSI. I'm honestly not sure about rubber.
Yeah, I've seen some of them where they've said as little as 800 PSI. Yeah.
Most of the TPO MFGs will go 1,500 to 2,000.
1,500 or less, yeah. There are even some of the what is it? The come on, the coatings. What are they? Yeah, some of the coatings will say nothing over 1,500 PSI and all that. So.
Manuel saying, what's the minimum temperature being soft washing? If you'll actually go on to the YouTube channel, we've got some discussions about Agent Green on there. There's Agent Green, and also the difference about cold bleach and warm bleach. But typically, bleach tends to start losing some effectiveness. It doesn't stop working. It just loses effectiveness at around 40 degrees. It'll still work. It just loses effectiveness. If you'll go onto the Spray Wash YouTube channel, I've actually done really boring videos with me with temperature monitors showing, does cold bleach work? Yes, it works. It just takes a lot longer than it does,
And that's part of it, though, is it will still work. You have to increase your dwell times on a lot of that.
So Jarvis is saying, bought his first 3/4 Dayton after watching Dougie Do. Haven't looked back. No booster, no work performed.
Very cool.
Hey, Blake. Somebody saying evening, fellows. With some eyes. We had someone take almost our exact name in Kissimmee. We had to send a C&D, cease and desist. The worst part is he did horrible work. And see, you know what? When we talk about this, about trademarking your name, I have a dear friend, one of my closest friends, in fact, the guy that got me into washing, because I used to help him in my spare time 20 years ago. He owns Seminole Soft Wash. There is a company in town named Seminole something else, who is probably the biggest
butt wagon.
He's the guy that gives a lot of $99 coupons and things like that, and does awful work and has horrible Google rating. And
isn't he the one that burned up the Florida State University?
Yeah, exactly. He was the guy that almost got everybody kicked off of Florida State University.
That's pretty bad.
and yeah, so yeah, he's still dealing with it to this day. So yeah, if you're out there, trademark your freaking name.
Yeah, and not just trademark it, but enforce it. Defend it. If you're out there building a business for tomorrow and not for today, you're going to have to defend it at some given point in time. That's where I'm at with the proportioner. I'm hoping that the patent goes through here soon,
Yep.
and there will be some defense on that.
Oh, there will be some hell to pay on it. I'm gonna have to stop drinking that month. So Chicagoland says so. Emmanuel, Chicago, Tommy is saying 40-degree weather is what they wash in. So yeah.
Yeah, Ray and I aren't the best ones to talk to when it comes to cold weather.
Yeah.
I mean, though I will tell you, I mean,
it was cold here once.
The coldest day of the year here in Louisiana before. So
I mean, I've actually literally like called jobs because ice was forming on things. Tesla.
Yes, Jason, I actually have. I priced out my house with the Tesla shingles, and I'm going to tell you what. So not on the washing aspect of it, but my roof cost me about 12, 13, 14, 15,000. I mean, that was been a few years back. I'm sure it'd be way more now. But at the time that I think my roof was about 12 grand with shingles, with asphalt shingles. Tesla shingles were 129 grand, I think it was. They're 109 or 129 grand to shingle my house. There's no way I was doing that.
Woo! So the high flow booster. So actually, let me clarify this. I think what the high flow booster. There's couple of different things. What Tim has made and what Paul, Tim invented and Paul at Power Wash Store makes. It's the high flow proportioner.
Yeah.
That can handle
larger boosters.
It can handle more fluid going through it. It's using larger valves. Not necessarily a high flow booster. Now there are high flow boosters. I mean, we've gotten boosters. Hell, I've got one sitting in the shop right now. I've got a 21 gallon a minute booster pump. I mean, you can make now. I've also got the thing hooked up to a Honda engine because it would probably be, oh my God, I couldn't imagine the watt draw on that thing or the amp draw on that. It would be insane. You couldn't, it would have to be a 220 on there, and it would still probably be pulling.
Or you could do like the one guy that has his videos out there where he's hooked it up to his, what is it, the NPR?
Yeah.
The engine on his NPR, and he's shooting 20 million stories or something like that.
Yep. So somebody said, did you invent the proportioner? No, Doug did not. And Tim Aselton invented the proportioner. Tim's a very good friend of mine, one of my closest friends in the world. So.
But I will say this, I did not invent the proportioner, but I am sexier than the guy that invented the proportioner. Even though he's much younger.
Yeah. No, actually, so Tim Aselton, who's here in Tallahassee, was a lieutenant with Tallahassee Fire Department and had literally put himself through fire school. Washing, washed forever. Very innovative person. I watched the development. I watched, he actually said, Ray, look, we became friends in the business. He said, Ray, you're kind of out there. You're out in these groups and all that, and I follow you. What do you think about this thing? And I was like, dude, this would change the world of washing. You please don't keep this a secret. Please, please, please. He's like, okay, whatever. And I was like, no, seriously. I said, you need to patent this technology. There's nothing else like that out there. He applied for the patent pending on there. We released it in 2016, or it was released by the Power Wash. I referred him to Paul Cassandra. The two of them got together. They began manufacturing it in 2016. It came out September or October 2016, Charlotte. We were both there, and then I think in October of 2016, the first knockoff rolled off the shelf, and people started, showing how to build them yourself. But unfortunately, the knockoffs and the ones you build yourselves aren't as good. And go, oh well, you don't have to use $170 valve on each one.
You can.
So servant, but yeah, that's the quick nutshell story of the proportioner. And for anybody who's ever gotten a patent, they're not necessarily quick, fast things. I've actually gone through the patent defenses with Tim, and I've looked at each challenge I've gotten, and have said given him my opinion and given his attorney my opinion on how to defend against things, and we'll see.
Servant, that's awesome, man. Landing a $6,000 job today.
Awesome.
Come on, dude. That's awesome. So I gotta show this one just out of curiosity. Jim, what did I do that tells you that I've been drinking? Because I've been drinking. I'm a little bit up there. I don't normally do, but I'm definitely up there a little bit today. So I must have done something.
I know what it is.
What is it? What is it?
It's the pinky. Your pinky comes up whenever you drink. You get very highbrow, and your pinky comes up. Yes, whenever you hold your glass, your pinky comes up.
That's my poker tell.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. You do this.
Lindsay says we have a patent pending product for the pressure washing industry. We are in the process of getting to the market. Awesome. I love to see innovation. I love to see new things coming out. I think there's going to be some game changers coming out. I don't know. I'm sure Tim is working on something that I haven't been told of.
Oh, look at what Joe Shuttle is doing. With the NutriPods. I mean, those things are incredible. Yeah. What an innovative thing. So the high flow booster that Tim talks about, trying to get a hold of we've already done that. It's too Rich, message me tomorrow. We'll talk about it. So yeah, Agent Green is alcohol and Agent Green. Absolutely. Washing the upper teens. It's fun, but it's not fun, but doable. Yep. And yes, he can fish circles around me.
Yeah.
Okay, Jarvis Davis. I'm in Alabama, and selling roof cleaning selling is a challenge. Absolutely. No. I mean, it's in. You know what? Best thing. There is no easy sell for it, especially the more people the more people that do it. Actually, the better it is, because a little bit of marketing happens there. Ask somebody to do a demo. If you do a demo, do it right over the front door.
Yep. Jarvis, I'm going to tell you, in my industry or my area here in the greater Baton Rouge area, when I started, nobody knew about soft washing. Nobody knew about roof cleaning. There was literally one other company doing it at the time. And it was an educational thing. And you need to learn how to educate the customer and show them the process. And I'm going to tell you, before and after pictures are huge sellers along that line. But you also need to watermark your photos, do that sort of thing. But it is a time-consuming educational process. It's also one of the reasons I think that my company built up to where it's at today, is simply because of the higher education level that I took to my customers to get them to understand and to know. And by taking that extra time, I became very memorable. And one of the things about it is when you're in any industry, and it seems like for this industry, there's so many people with pressure washers out there. Bite me. Bite me. There's so many people out there with pressure washers that, now you made me lose my train of thought. I don't even know what I'm talking about. You jerk. That I had to build that reputation and build the industry up around here. I don't think half the guys, I mean, I'm not trying to be pompous in this, but I don't think half the guys would be as far along as they are if it weren't for me. And I don't mean to be pompous or whatever in that, but I educated so many people and I brought to light the soft washing thing here in my area that it became even one of my largest accounts. I would be talking to him and he'd say, man, you got to help me out. I got people calling me that are from his different areas of his company saying, man, I need that soft wash guy. I need that soft wash guy. They didn't know the name of my company, but they knew about what we did. So it is really a matter of educating your customers in your area.
100%. Agreed.
Pinky up. I never realized I did that.
So I love this. This is one of those, and it said Tim's Pro Tap has been very helpful. I seriously remember talking to Tim. So I'm going to give you a little history on the Pro Tap. I was like, because Tim was a fireman, they understand like backflows. And I literally called Tim one night and I was like, hey, dude, can I get water out of this? And Tim's like, I don't know. I never really thought about it. I was like, does this have anything to do with the fire system?
No.
Sprinkler system? He's like, no, that's the backflow. I was like, okay, cool, sweet. And he's like, hey, how'd you wind up getting water out of that? I was like, well, I went to Lowe's and I got a 1/4-inch bushing to an 1/8 inch bushing to a 1/4 inch to a nipple to then I could finally get it up to a 1/2 inch to a 3/4 MPT. Had a fitting like that long that was $30 in freaking brass off the peg on that
I remember my first one was about the same, yeah.
And he's like, holy shit, we can make that, and next thing you know, it was like that. So, yeah, you're welcome.
So in reality, the proportioner is actually compliments of Ray.
Yeah, y'all are welcome.
The pro tap is compliments.
And I can't, and I seriously don't, because I just begged him because he was really torn about it, And it was funny because like he had, y'all know, y'all probably don't know, but old guys know that, I bought Tim's flatbed, the one that he had installed the proportional on, because he built himself a new flatbed. And but through you'd always see Tim's truck rolling through Tallahassee. And I've noticed at one point, like in 2015, whenever he was beta testing this thing, and I knew something was up because he went from bleach tank, water tank, mixed tank to only 2 tanks. And he had actually taken like an extra beaver tail off of his truck, and dropped it down. Mm-hmm. The extension was gone. And I'm like, how is the sumbitch doing this? He's only got 2 tanks. He doesn't have a mixed tank on there.
So let me ask you something, Ray. Mm-hmm. Without knowing much of it, of course, you know too much, but how could you possibly know that Tim Aselton has been around for a long time without knowing Tim Aselton? Does that make sense? What domain name does he own?
Softwashing.com.
How in the world could anybody who hadn't been in this industry for a long time
own softwashing.com? That's true.
You have to be one of the first freaking people in this industry
ever do it, yeah,
to own softwashing.com.
That is very true.
End of story.
Absolutely.
Tim's been around a while.
100%.
And Tim's a pretty humble guy, actually.
Jeremy used Tim's Pro Tap this weekend. Game changer. It really is,
Jeremy and his yellow boots.
Mm-hmm. Love me some Jeremy Brook.
Yeah. Those naked pictures of him in his yellow boots.
Since 1994. There it is. Man, it's actually it was Tim's anniversary today, which I was, I had a great anniversary, 10/20, and Tim got 11/1. So, women think we're being romantic. We're just doing something easy to remember.
And mine's 10/12.
There it is.
There you go. So, Ray, do you know how many times I've been married?
I assumed 1. 5. No.
Do you know how many women I've been married to?
No. Y'all have what?
Do you know how many times I've been divorced?
None. Y'all just keep renewing your vows or what?
That's it. We went to Hawaii once, and they had this small, I guess it's the smallest chapel in the United States. And we pulled over to the side of the road. The kids renewed our vows at one point.
So, like room for 2 in the chapel?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Tanya and I have been married twice. We renewed our vows. She surprised me for our anniversary. And we went to Vegas and we got married by remarried by an Elvis impersonator. And it was amazing because he was in costume and he so you better treat her like a little teddy bear or you'll be crying in the chapel. Don't you be no hound dog. Or yeah, it was amazing. Let's see. We got more. God, these comments have been amazing. We hadn't even talked about all the things that I want to talk about tonight about how the industry's changed in the past, years. But
and we're almost an hour and a half into it already.
Yeah, Jacob. Good night. Good night, Jacob.
Night, Jacob.
Your dad was married 4 times with 3 different women. All right, so he did the stupid thing and did one twice.
Yeah.
youngest son told me he'd be joining in our journey to build. Awesome.
Awesome.
That's like being in business with your family. I was blessed to be in business with my wife, and we haven't killed each other yet, and amazing. A mentor in the wash industry. Yeah, I did. I had a very good local friend that washed, and he was my mentor. Yeah.
I didn't have anybody that I liked in this industry or that I considered as a mentor. I can tell you that I would assign myself my own mentor if there was anybody that I liked in this industry. But there's nobody that I would consider as good enough to mentor me in this industry. I honestly, that's it. I mean, I decided when I started that, I chose my mentor, whether or not he was going to like it or not.
Doug called me, came over, hung out for a few days, and it was great.
And I'll go one further. I mean, I'll say that I couldn't at the time I did it. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Ray, but I sent Ray a booster pump.
You sent me
I couldn't afford the booster pump at the time.
It's literally
but
like
I appreciated his
booster
help
pump
so
showed
much.
up at my freaking, a booster pump showed up one day after you were done, and I was like, wow, that is really freaking amazing of you and incredible. And it was, and I know you were on hard times whenever you came. I mean, shit, you drove your freaking motorcycle over,
Yeah, I couldn't afford the gas in my truck to go over to meet with him, so I rode my motorcycle, which I enjoyed anyhow. But it's just one of those things that I believe in paybacks. I believe in paying it forward.
Always been extremely fair. So
yeah.
Let's see here. He's saying so somebody got his first set of fin prints. Yeah, I love my sub shirt. Tanya's like, well, we no longer own Spray Wash. You need to get rid of these. I'm like, oh hell no, I will never get rid of those.
Yep, I still got my Cajun shirts.
Yep, absolutely. Only mentors are you guys and others on YouTube. Be careful about who you watch on YouTube, though. I will tell you, you cannot believe everything you hear on YouTube. Ask to see a P&L. Yeah. So you two have been instrumental to me over the years. Well, Jeremy, that's all. Which instrument? Like a piano solo or like
guitar?
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, I'm when it comes to the electric guitar, air guitar specifically, but I can play a mean guitar.
I just pictured you as more of a skin flute.
You've been going there.
Asshole.
Yeah.
Subshot. Damn decent. There was a couple of people that really hacked me off that were starting to sell to a particular association that really hacked me off doing the Pakistan shirts. Whatever they were doing, the Chinese shirts. But hey, if you can get them, do them. The ones that they sent me seemed like they were pretty good. Spanish guitar. Got fucking laundry to do. There it is. There it is.
I think we've been talking too much is what he's trying to say.
Yeah. Well, Doug, so everybody has wasted another valuable hour and a half of their time. I feel like I could go on. Again, we didn't even get into what we were going to talk about. And I want to talk about what we've seen, the difference in the industry. And one of the things, and I don't want to go here, maybe this is a highlight for next Thursday or for this Thursday coming up, but, we should talk about, the difference of Facebook. How much has Facebook grown in the past 10 years? I mean, it's
tremendous amount.
It's gone from 2 or 3 pressure washing forums to where
a new one pops up every day.
15 friends, you're going to go and create your own pressure washing forum.
Yep.
Yeah, you want to have at it. I did. We did.
I've definitely been invited to more groups than I can ever even imagine.
I submitted the contacts, Pavlo. No, if you submitted, they will be sending out reminders. In fact, I'm going to talk to them within the week, and I'll say, hey, guys, we want to send a little, hey, thank you for registering, and a little reminder email. I will put that on my list to do. In fact, reminder.
While he's typing that up, I'm going to say this. I've talked to a couple guys. One guy here recently, last week. For you, those of you that are pro members, and those of you that are not, one of the truest values to me of being a pro membership, and again, this is something that was said to me last week, is really in the phone calls and in the job help. It's not so much the forums, it's not so much the other stuff. It's more the help that we provide for you one-on-one, doing job walkthroughs, or just being that phone call away to answer the questions. I think Ray and I are both pretty approachable, and we've got a lot of experience in the industry, grew very healthy companies, that sort of thing. But you know, the true nature to help is there. But
Yeah.
at some given point in time, we do have to pull back a little bit and honor our pros, and that's what we do. If you're a pro member, we're just a little bit more centered and focused on making sure that if you have questions or you need something, and matter of fact, in my phone, when somebody becomes a pro member, I set them up as SPO, so spray or SPR, spray wash pro member. So I know that when I answer the phone, I'm talking to a pro member, and
Absolutely.
it helps me to know that if I don't have time for you right now, I try to make the time. And I'm not, this isn't a pitch necessarily for pro, but for those of you that, because I have had people, man, I've called you like 3 or 4 times and I'm not able to get a response out of you. What's up? Look,
I was just saying, I worked on 3 different projects today on pro members, you know, and was talking about issues, and okay, that Aluka bond looks a little sketchy right there, and this is where I'd be at on that TPO roof, and this is where I'd, you know, deal with that stucco, and et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, I'm happy to, again, we do kind of give the, yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh my God! But I haven't been home. I mean, I literally came in here. I walked into the office from door hanging a neighborhood that we're working on right now, 156 unit HOA project.
Yeah, I walked in the door from selling roofing today, and never got a chance really to do anything else. And so hopped on here, and there we are. And I don't know that I'll be doing that much longer. I actually kind of enjoy it, but kind of don't at the same time. I mean, different things I won't get into, but
getting a shout out for the new hire orientation videos. I like it.
The new hire orientation videos Doug does over the pro are pretty damn awesome. Awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you. I need to redo the other one. I haven't looked back at that one, but I've got the other one that's out there. And I went back and looked at it, and I'm like, that's awful cheesy. It's good information, but the video is cheesy.
You know, Tanya told me that I'm taking, so I've got this week to work out here, and then I'm doing Jacksonville as a consultant for 2 weeks. And then Tanya has put her foot down, and she said, you are taking off the month of December to do what you want to do. The sad part is I want to go fishing with Tim. And I want to, oh, look at who just showed up. Jose, we're leaving. You're late as usual.
Yeah.
Good timing, bro.
I better get the invite to go fishing with Tim. I'm just saying.
But I actually plan, I'm going to actually go over to Tim's for about a week. He doesn't know that yet. But but yeah, and I'm telling Tanya, it's like, what I really want to do, you're telling me what I want to do. I want to go and catch up on the videos and the classes that I've got, the stack of classes over there, you know, for Spray Wash Pro that we need to do. That's what I would really want to do. He's Mexican. Is that why you're late? Really? Really? No, the Mexicans that I know are never late. They're slow. They work slow and steady, but they're never late. So,
yeah, I'm out anyhow. So I guess it's time.
It's time. Yeah, it's getting racial now. You know.
Yeah.
The Mexicans came finally.
Yeah. Nice to see you, Jose.
All right, Doug. Let's end this thing. Good night, everybody. Thank y'all for your time.
Brother. Appreciate you a lot.